Hello guys, this is Better Strategies. For 14th grade system. And what I will be talking about is the nonlinear system of grades, where it goes from F, D, C, B, A, S, T. And depending on binary representation of A or B, and the fuzzy logic in between that allows more strings of zeros, more strings of ones. When it's seen one is dominant, F's are considered bad. But if zero is dominant in the structure, F's are good, and that changes the system. But this means in between there would have to be a fuzzy, not even fuzzy logic, because these letters are full untruths, imperatives of structure in the 14th grade structure right here. So this would have to be A. That would be A. And A would be a logic that is different because it would change the mapping of the whole system, unless it would have to be like that. But what we're trying to talk about is why, on a scale from 1 to 10, there's looks that go up or down. And the logic is either hypergamy or hypogamy. But you never thought of this? There is the alt logic, where it is Gamyhype, and Gamyhypeo, where one word in the structure is focused more on. So this logic over here is kind of the logic of a beta male, unrealized. It comes from a logical standpoint of inverse logic of hierarchy. But it also works with the idea of there being a structural lens to look through, be it the nodes X and Y, which create a system that can be X, Y, X, Y, X, Y, or Y, X, X, Y, and all that. But what I'm getting at right here is this all leads to a Zeus Thunderbolt that clarifies that you do not feel love in the same way. It becomes different when you focus on Gamyhype right here. Love is inverse, so that could explain female and male opposition in ideology. So this is getting interesting, right? So what I'm trying to say is that this is going to get really strange. The identity with attributing something to you is like a waveform. This is a low waveform. This is higher. this is highest, and it changes. So if a waveform can continue to get higher and higher, let's say from a circuit interacting plus minus with a minus plus, then there's a possibility where the opposite can happen in a current, where plus minus is connected to plus minus, and it creates a different field. This means this field can continue to grow more in complexity, and that describes the relation in a number. But it's a relation in a number because we go directly into the next sort of logic, where it's a little bit unknown. Let's rate the whatever you're seeing right now as the world is hypergamy, but you are Gamyhypeo. And if you're Gamyhypeo, everything you see is literally little beats of hypergamy. But the Gamyhypeo is the symptom that you feel when you feel love at a higher level, but you cannot describe it, so it is a bit non-linear. The only way to describe the non-linearity is to create a network out of it, and that network continues to grow, and then you restart where you were and continue to grow it out like that, and then you keep on going with this networking spider-like web occurrence. So what I'm getting at here is that all you need to do to figure out how things are structured is to continue thinking like an alpha, but not be an alpha, and be it. You will always be this, but the structure is telling you to focus on this now, which is a whole nother system that is stronger than that one. This was the original strength, this is the stronger, and then it gets stronger from there, unless you try to find a way to make this whole system much easier to comprehend. So, all we have to do is relate with how we're feeling right now. Let's say girls that you've heard about, like girls in California, 20s. What about guys in Washington, 5? Girls in New York, 50, 15. How does this lead to each other? They're not all the same. Some 50-15s are 13-12s, or some 5s are 4, DX1. Some 20s are 1A to the second. So it's just different ways to describe relationships, and you use this logic to bend where exactly you're going. The reason why you're not getting approached by girls is because certain statistics are not lining up, or they're kind of just swiveled in a nonlinear set point that reminds them of themselves, or they don't know the option if this guy will think any different than the linear context that he already has. But for a girl, it's kind of hard to get out of that because she was raised that way. So the only way to change the system for a girl is to heighten the velocity and make it hyper structured. So it's for girls to want more or want less, but they don't see it that way. I know how girls are. Girls have different logic. And what I'm saying here is that you can lead to a feedback loop that comes back again, and then you can load that state and restart the path, and you're like, how did I get here again? I just loaded that state. So if you got rejected, you can load that state and just move your own way like a sigma, but you remain a beta in a Chad alternative Chad. And that leads to Riz. This is what I'm talking about.